Welcome to RetroLogic. I'm Sam Wagers here with Dan Caporello and John Cummins. And today we will be having a difficult conversation. We're going to talk about hard modes in games and just difficulty in general. But of course, we also have community questions and everybody's favorite Price is Retro. But before we get to that, RetroLogic is not just a podcast, it is a whole community of retro gamers. So we have a active and friendly and free Discord. So if you are looking for a place to hang out and socialize and interact with other retro collectors and retro gamers in light of other platforms maybe not being as appealing, that's a place you can do that, is the RetroLogic Discord.
Twitter.
Yeah. We don't need to go into that, but we've also got giveaways, Free Stuff Friday, every Friday, giveaways of some pretty cool stuff, contests, and of course, all of our podcasts, including RetroGroove, a weekly music history podcast, as well as On Topic Retro, hosted by our very own John, dedicated to one video game per episode. And you can even guest on these shows. Always looking for guests to come in and talk about the games we love to play. So all that and more can be found, links on the website retrologic.games. So, guys, how has your past 2 weeks been, since we record every 2 weeks? What's going on?
Pretty good. I'll go first. Let's just jump right in here. I traveled last week. I was in Vegas. And I really wanted to go to this one retro store there called Retro City Games that I've heard a lot about. And, you know, just between not having a rental car and like just the schedule being crazy, just never got out there. What I did do, though, was because Scarlet and Violet came out Friday, which is the day we flew out of Vegas, I was like, you know what? I wonder if I can make it to GameStop before I have to be at the airport. And so, like, the GameStop opened at 10, and I was waiting outside of GameStop in the mall across the street from our hotel for like 30 minutes. Just like sitting, just like
crazy person.
Yeah, I'm the one waiting in line for Pokemon, and like another guy walked up behind me at some point and was like, "Pokemon, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "All right." We had like a whole conversation about it. And so yeah, I got my copy of Scarlet and I played it on the plane, had a blast. Because, like, when I start a new video game, I really need, like, at least 2 hours to, like, figure out, is this something I'm going to really invest in, or am I just going to get bored and walk away from this? And I don't have that much time back-to-back, usually, in my normal life. So it was a nice little 3-hour airplane ride, and got to play some Pokemon Scarlet. Loving it so far. Haven't seen any major glitches, but that game sure is ugly, in my opinion. I think that's just, I don't even know what else to say. It's just not pretty to look at. But I'm having fun.
But it is Pokemon.
It's Pokemon, and I'm having fun, and so I'm just going to lean into that for now. Yeah, so that's my story this week. What about you, John?
I also got Pokemon this week, and mine showed up a day early. But I started them like, I've literally only been able to play like 10-minute spurts here lately. So I'm still at the school. I've done lots of exploring, though, like that first little area. Like, I've noticed, I'm almost 100% sure that the Pokeballs are just like randomly generated now, like the item balls.
Yeah,
that are on the world map.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, so like, I'll just head in a direction looking for Pokeballs, and then just, you know, end up. I think I fully explored like the whole first area. I caught like 40 Pokemon just in that first spot.
Yeah.
And but I'm still just now at the school. Like I'm taking this one really slow for some reason.
The school was so boring. I was like, just stop talking. I just want to go back out into the world. Just stop talking.
And I've noticed like the graphical fidelity isn't bothering me as much. It's the just choppiness. Sometimes just missing clipping and things that are happening in the game. Like I think they messed up by giving you free control of the camera view during like battles and things, because that just is asking for the game to break. Like If you put your camera angle down too low, like just taken from below the ground, and like it's all just really bad.
Yeah, I've experienced some of that, especially if you like try to fight a Pokemon from up on a cliff or something. It'll zoom in to the rock and you won't see anything. But I have seen some clips too that are interesting, especially if you get into multiplayer, because the other players can just like wander into the middle of your battle and just clip through the Pokemon, and that's just kind of funny, honestly.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not enough to like really bother me to keep me from playing. Like, I'm still enjoying the game. It's still fun. It's just there really isn't a reason to have the camera controllable during battle. Like, it just leave it alone. Let it be Pokemon.
Yeah,
let it be stationary.
It kind of had a function in Arceus, but yeah, in this game it just kind of feels like it's there because it's there. Like, I don't really know why.
Even then, like, yeah, I mean, even with Arceus, like, once you're battling, like, I don't really, like, it's fine, but the like for this one for sure, like a stationary battle would have been great, and then they probably would have been using less resources, probably could have allocated this somewhere else. Like,
maybe, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Small gripes. This is like first world Pokemon problems.
No big
It's interesting because I didn't think I was going to get it. And then Saturday afternoon, I was just like sitting at home, like, I'm going to go buy Pokemon Violet. I'm just going to go do it. So I did. I went to a local store. Actually, they sell retro stuff too. So I also picked up a copy of Primal Rage for the Super Nintendo because I just wanted to look around. And then at that point, I was just like in the mood to just get something else. Like, as long as it's cheap, I'll just find something else that I want.
Love Primal Rage.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my other pickup. But yeah, I actually have been liking Pokemon Violet a lot more than I thought I would. I was pretty skeptical about the open world stuff, but I actually think it works pretty well here. Like, I was like, oh yeah, you're gonna get like way over leveled and stuff, but like the thing is, Pokemon's always easy, but now you can actually get in over your head, which I like. So that's kind of why this whole thing about difficulty has been kind of stewing in my head.
Yeah, and
we'll get more to that later.
I don't know that I consider this game, like, I guess you could kind of go wherever you want technically, but the progression is very clear. Like, there's
you have a lot more options.
There's a path, and you go on the path and do all the things. You know, like, you can go ahead.
There's definitely a preferred order, and the game will make that pretty clear.
Very clear. Like,
you just have the option to ignore everything and run off to the corner of the map, like I did, and fight what should be the next to last Titan, I believe. Second, as literally the second thing you ever do. So, yeah, that's what I did. It was fun. I actually did beat it, and only because my boy Knacklestack has this move called Salt Cure that just wrecks steel types.
Nice.
Regardless of how high their defense is.
Is it a ground type move?
It is his signature rock type move.
Rock type. Okay.
It's like Fire Spin, but it's rock type, and it does the damage over time component is doubled against water and steel types.
Jeez.
So it literally does a fourth of their HP a turn, regardless of what their stats are.
Ridiculous.
So that's why he was able to beat something 20 levels higher. Well, he died, but I just sent my other stuff out to die while the damage over time effect wore his health down.
Nice.
Wonderful.
And I won that way because I had 6 Pokemon.
Yeah.
Only took 4 turns of waiting.
Okay, good stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to putting a lot more time into it over this next week while I'm off.
Yeah. The other thing I will say this week, I'll probably talk about it more once the Analog Pocket finally gets here. But in advance of that, I did go through the process of hacking my 3DS for the purpose of getting my virtual console games, Game Boy Color games, onto an SD card in playable ROM form, so that I can hopefully load those into the Pocket at some point when I do get it. So more on that when the Pocket actually gets here.
Cool.
But yeah, that's pretty eventful 2 weeks. Of course, Pokemon coming out and all that.
Big time.
Of course, I'm still streaming Mega Man Battle Network 2. This is actually the hard mode of that game. So getting about the halfway point, just acquired the first style change. So that was kind of interesting. I'm slightly I can't be too disappointed because it's a good one, but I actually got the exact same style change I have on my normal playthrough file, which is Aqua Custom. I was trying for custom style. That part is dictated by the way you play. So it kind of adapts to your play style, but the element is random. So I was like, oh, I might get a different element. That might be slightly more interesting. Nope, I got water again. It's a good one, though, because it has the fastest charge shot, so I can't complain. Custom style lets you start each battle drawing more battle chips a turn, so it's basically the best one. But more on that, you can check out the RetroLogic Games Twitch channel, of course. I also post the videos to my YouTube channel, which is Third Strongest Mole on YouTube. You can see whole playlist there. I archived all the Earthbound Beginnings, Mother 3 playthroughs there, as well as Mega Man Battle Network, Mega Man Network Transmission, and now Battle Network 2. So what's going on with On Topic Retro, John?
So yeah, we actually had Adam, your brother, Dan.
Yes.
And Shannon, from the community on to do a special bonus episode this last week, and we talked about Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
All right.
It was way longer.
On topic modern returns.
Yes,
right?
On Topic Modern. We ended up going for like almost 3 hours. I think it was like 2 hours and 50 minutes. We were approaching like some all-in time.
Holy moly.
Podcast. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, we just kept talking and talking and talking. But there's timestamps in there for anyone that's wanting to look for anything particular. But yeah, definitely a long one. And then also for right now, anybody that's in the community, we're currently doing a vote on this next month's December's Retro Rewind game. And for the month of December, I chose to throw up some Arcade Archives games that you can purchase on the Switch eShop. They're all $8 a piece. And I probably will be bringing those down in the next couple days. That way it gives everyone like a solid week to buy the game that wins, if they need that long to get around to it. And then we'll be starting that game up for December.
Awesome.
And then I don't know if it'll be this week, probably next week. I'll probably take the holiday week off, but next week I probably will record an episode on Harvest Moon 64. So
that's right.
Squeeze in.
Let me know if you can get me on for that, because that'll be.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
I have played a lot of Harvest Moon 64.
So I think it's just me and Liam right now. So yeah, you're more than welcome to hop in.
That's awesome. Going to be a good, if all three of you get on there, that's going to be a great podcast. I have not played that game at all, so that'd be a cool thing to listen to if I get all three of you guys on there. You guys are podcast gold.
And it's still available to purchase on the Wii U, I believe.
Ooh.
For the Virtual Console until March.
Until March.
So go buy it.
All goes away.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's crazy that's still a thing. I got to get in there and buy some stuff.
It's better to buy it there than to spend the $60 to $80 that it's going for now on the N64.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, speaking of how much games are going for now, how about we play some Prices Retro?
Yo.
Let's do it.
All right, well, if this is your first time playing the Prices Retro, here is how we play. Each of us will list off 4 or 5 games, and everyone has to guess how much the lot is worth in total. Whoever is closest to the actual value of the games wins that round. Everyone has a list, and everyone guesses on each other's list. At the end, the player that wins the most rounds wins the episode, but watch out for our killer robot, Deus Guess Machina. He averages all the guesses together to make a guess of his own, although he has yet to win a round. I believe. But this
Not
might
yet.
be his time.
Mm-hmm.
This might be his time.
It took the Ghost a little while to make it to a victory, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think the key is he'll come in if we split our. We've been guessing close together.
It makes it really tough.
We've become a podcast hive mind. We all just think the same thing. I don't know, but when we're not guessing close together, I think we'll see him take it. So, John, do you have your list ready?
I do. So this is no theme, random. I made this list 5 minutes ago.
Nice.
These are all Sega
Anything
Genesis
goes.
games. These are all complete in box. And these are all, for the most part, games I've never even heard of. So here we go. The first game is Splatterhouse 3 for the Sega Genesis, complete in box.
Oh, buddy. That's some money right there.
The second game is Skeleton Crew, Crew with a K, for the Sega Genesis, complete in box.
I don't know why that made me laugh. I'm going to have to look that up later. Skeleton Crew.
And then the third game is The Beggar Prince for the Sega Genesis, complete in box. And the fourth game is Grindstormer for the Sega Genesis, complete in box.
Sam, what are these games?
John Stormer.
Don't ask, because
I have heard
like I
of
said,
Skeleton Crew. I think.
I pulled a Dan.
no
and these
idea
are
what
some last-minute
Grindstormer is.
lookups.
I can't.
Oh gosh.
Can't even tell you what. I mean, I know what Splatterhouse is, obviously, but the other three are. I have no clue. I can't give you a genre.
I mean,
sorry.
I don't even. I'll go first. I'm just gonna say $500.
Okay.
Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better. I'm just gonna go with a clean $600.
Alrighty. So the total of my lot is $1,102.39.
Wow, very lowballed it. Okay.
Holy moly. Okay.
So I knew Skeleton Crew was a lot. I knew Splatterhouse was a lot, but I didn't think they were. Are those other two really expensive too? What's the breakdown?
Okay, so the breakdown is Splatterhouse 3 for the Sega Genesis, complete in box, is $299.97.
Holy crap.
Okay.
That's more than I thought.
Skeleton Crew with a K, complete in box, is $340.40.
Oh, that's way more than I thought.
The Beggar Prince for the Sega Genesis, complete in box, is $132.04. And the Grindstormer for the Sega Genesis, complete in box, $329.98.
Okay. I am watching a Let's Play of Skeleton Crew, and this game looks kind of sick. It's like a what's that 45-degree angle called?
Isometric.
Yeah, it's isometric view, top-down shooter, like Alien Syndrome or Gauntlet or something like that.
Sweet.
Yeah, and it looks amazing. Like, it looks really good. You're just like going around shooting zombies, and this looks like you're inside some kind of intestines. It's all spooky dooky stuff. Like, this is like a volcano with giant robot
Spooky
frogs. This looks like a giant like ooze factory thing. This is like pure Sega Genesis gross out humor, like awesomeness. And you're like a red robot guy. I don't know why it's called Skeleton Crew, but this is
I'm going to be finding out after the show.
this is fantastic. I wonder if it's 2-player. Oh, it is 2-player. Yeah. So yeah, that looks amazing, and I want to play it now. But not for.
Except it's expensive.
I literally was like,
Yeah.
I don't know, $100 a piece, maybe more than that, 500. Jeez,
Well,
who won that one?
what's the price for it loose? Hold on.
Who won that round?
Sorry for the loud keyboard.
Sam, did you win that round?
Yeah, I had the
Yeah.
highest guess.
Yeah.
So the ghost would be at 550, or the robot, not the ghost.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Lou's Skeleton Crew is only $140. So.
Like I'll find it somewhere for that. All right.
It's only 3811 loose on the Amiga for PAL regions.
Great, thanks. Okay, I'll jump right on
If
that.
you just want to,
If you want to buy it for the Atari Lynx, give somebody will pay you to take it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, Dan. How about you go next?
All right, sounds good. I also did a bunch of random games. No theme at all. Just decided on some games. And here we go. We've got Aladdin for the Game Boy, loose. Perfect Dark Zero for the Xbox 360, complete in box. Top Spin for the Xbox, complete in box. And Grand Theft Auto 3 for the PS2, complete in box.
Am I going first?
Yes.
I think I should go first. Wait,
Okay, that's fine.
because otherwise I would never go first. Because Dan went first last time.
Go first, Sam.
And my list is next.
Yes, do it.
So yeah, I'm gonna say 125.
I'm going to say $80.
Alrighty. Actual retail price is $31.80.
Oh wow,
We've got
very low.
that's a John win. We've got
that is a John win.
Aladdin for the Game Boy, which is $12.71. Perfect Dark Zero for the Xbox 360, which is $6.99. Top Spin for the Xbox, which is $3.50, and Grand Theft Auto 3, which is $8.60. So when I said random,
I was going to say 60, but I didn't know about Top Spin, so I was like, I'll go up just a hair.
yeah, when I said
I
random,
know it's not going to be crazy.
we went random, and we went low.
You didn't say
today.
random and cheap.
Oh, I don't want to give away the I don't want to.
Well,
whatever.
My list is last. So if you want to split up and tie it three ways, Dan, you gotta win this. Otherwise, John takes it, or maybe the robot finally.
Maybe the robot gets his first victim.
So I do have a theme. These are all Game Boy Advance exclusive first-person shooters.
Okay,
Almost the definitive list of such things.
I got this.
Depending how you slice it. I've got Ice 9. These are all Game Boy Advance games. They're all loose. So first, Ice 9.
These are
Second,
loose.
Dark Arena. Loose. Yeah.
Okay.
Dark Arena for the Game Boy Advance. Loose. Duke Nukem Advance for the Game Boy Advance. Loose. And X versus Sever for the Game Boy Advance.
Oh, you missed Wolfenstein.
I didn't say it was every.
The one
but
that
these are all,
I know, but I
are.
own that one,
He said
Sam.
almost.
I know that one.
Okay.
But you didn't say
Okay.
it. You jerk. What was the last one?
Well,
X versus
it didn't
Sever?
make the list.
Yeah.
X versus Sever. Yeah.
Come on, man. The
I'm
one
gonna
I know.
say, Let's just do 225. Playing it safe.
25.
I'm gonna go 130.
225 and 130. Okay, the total is 186.83. I think the robot might take that one.
Is that Deus Guess Machina?
Yes, he beat me by like $1.50.
Bro.
Three-way tie between me, Sam, and the robot.
Yep.
All right, well, who was closest?
See, we talked about it. Okay,
It would not be me because I was way off on the first slot, on John's lot.
Yeah, no, the robot wins.
The robot wins. Wow.
Yes, because his guess was 36. His win was $36.53 off. My win was $48.20 off, and your win was $500
Oh my
off,
gosh.
Sam. Because mine was the big list.
Mhm.
I'm so happy.
So there we go. Robot has first win.
I'm so happy about this.
Sorry,
right
There
paid
we
now.
off.
go.
Deus
Already
Guess
paid off.
Machina, man. Coming in. Wiping us out. At the end, too, at the 11th
I
hour.
for one, welcome our new robot overlords.
It's in the log. The robot wins.
We still got to write something
They
for
can
slicing.
all They can all just plug us into the Matrix and harvest us for energy now.
I still got to design him. I still got to get his look together, man.
Dan, we're gonna have to get it together. So far this season, Sam has 2 wins and the robot has 1, and we have done nothing.
Oh my gosh, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been pretty unfocused this whole season. So let's just cool it.
Well, you took last season, so
that's true. That's true.
I guess it's. I took the first season, you took last one, so I guess it's Sam or the robot's turn to step up.
Taking a season off. Okay, so
it's our time.
I've got
the way of the future. Robots.
It is. That's true. I've got 2 games from our awesome community who have given us some things to play. So we're going to jump into the first game here from our good friend Liam from the RetroGroove podcast, who just dropped an episode about smooth jazz, which sounds really unappealing, but I promise you, if anybody can get you to listen to smooth jazz, Liam can get you to listen to smooth jazz. Okay, it's a spot the fake. So I'm going to list off 5 games. All of these are real, except one. We got to figure out which one that is. Here we go. The Destiny of Zorro, The Mask of Zorro, Zorro Quest for Justice, Zorro the Chronicles, Zorro.
Just Zorro?
Just Zorro. So that's 5 games. Destiny of Zorro, Mark of Zorro. Sorry. I'll read them again. Destiny of Zorro, Mark of Zorro. I think I said Mask earlier, but it's Mark. Zorro Quest for Justice, Zorro the Chronicles, Zorro. I have probably not Zorro, but the rest of these,
sure, though?
The rest of these are a toss-up.
I mean, I don't know if I can be sure. You would think that would be the first name you would pick if you wanted to make a Zorro game, but
yeah, I have no guess on here. Destiny of Zorro sounds fake.
Yeah, Destiny of Zorro sounds fake to me.
That does sound off.
Okay. All right, let's do it. Let's do Destiny of Zorro. Liam, let's see if you fooled us. And the answer is The Mark of Zorro. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I feel like that might be a movie, though.
Mark of Zorro?
Or maybe I'm thinking Mask of Zorro.
Yeah,
I'm thinking The Mask.
I think I said Mask when I first read it.
You said Mask the first time.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Okay, Liam, you got us. You got us on that one. Destiny of Zorro.
Don't know my Zorro well enough.
Yeah. Oh, if you're listening, if you're listening to this and you want to submit a game or some trivia to us, all you have to do is DM me. DM me in Discord. DM me on Twitter. DMs are open, so just shoot me a message and say like, "Hey, I have a game for the podcast and would love to play your game." Up next, I'll just get. Who do you think you guys sent us a game? Who do you guys think? Who is it? Just guess.
It's in the notes, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it is. It's Ambassador.
I'm looking at him.
Yeah, I mean we had to.
That's not a guess.
Anyway.
It's not a guess.
I know, but it's always Ambassador, isn't it? Here we go. He says, the game quiz is called "Which 90s Nintendo console are you?" Right? And he says answer these questions honestly to see which Sega console you are, and tally your score at the bottom. See below for scoring results. Okay, so we're gonna keep track of our scores here. Let me move some windows around so I can do both. Boop.
Make a new sticky note.
Yes. Oh, you do sticky notes? That's good. Okay.
Yeah, my whole screen's sticky notes.
Question number 1. You are at the store and you pick out some candy. What do you pick? A fancy European chocolate bar that is not appreciated in the US. B, a very good knockoff of Snickers, even though more people like Snickers. C, an expensive candy bar that has slightly better peanuts and caramel than its predecessors. Or D, something you found on the ground that looks like a candy bar but is warm and wrapped in tinfoil.
Probably B.
I like European chocolate, so I'm going to go A on that one.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go A.
Yeah. Belgian chocolate is tough to beat for me.
I don't know. I like sweet chocolate.
Belgian chocolate's semi-sweet. Okay.
Yeah, it's
So
a little bit more bitter.
So number 2, we've got the question is, you need to find a significant other on Tinder. Here are your choices. A, an exotic supermodel who has self-esteem issues. B, the second most popular person in high school. Second. C, someone who is attractive but obsessed with badminton and chess. And D, Hulk Hogan, but he's not wearing pants. Okay. Gosh.
Can we change B to the third most popular girl in school?
So we got the third most
Whatever it
popular.
was.
I'm going B again.
Third most.
Third most, yeah. Definitely not the supermodel.
I'm going B just because it's the safest one.
Yeah, I'm
Definitely don't
gonna
want to go D.
I'm gonna go C because who doesn't like badminton and chess?
Me.
It's not really a problem.
Yeah, it's fine. You can be. It's whatever. They're attractive and they're not a supermodel, so that's like the best option for me. Number 3, you are at a theme park and you have to choose your next ride. Do you choose A, the 3D flight simulator experience, B, a very high quality roller coaster that goes in loops but not very high, C, bumper cars, but the cars are actual Lamborghinis and you have to exchange insurance after, D, a clown chasing you for 2 hours? I mean, B is the one.
Yeah, B's got to be it.
Yeah.
B.
None of those sound appealing otherwise. All right, number 4. You have to pick a movie for date night, and your date wants something scary. Do you choose A, The Ring 1 and 2, B, Friday the 13th, C, John Carpenter's Dracula, or D, Leprechaun 3, Leprechaun in Space?
I mean, probably The Ring, I would say. So that's A for me.
I don't really like...
I'm going to go C.
I don't like scary movies. Why C, John?
So Leprechaun.
It's probably got to be the worst one.
Yeah, like I feel like I would want to watch Leprechaun 3 just to laugh at it, because that would be the only entertainment I'm going to get out of that list. All right, question 5. You're playing a new fighting game, and you have to choose your main. Do you choose the technical fighter with speed and tricky moves? B, the all-around fighter with easy combos? C, a more complex and stronger version of the all-around fighter? D, the kid with a full body cast? I wonder what game D is. Jeez.
D. Used Harden.
Definitely D. I mean, I play a lot of fighting games. I always gravitate towards the weirdest character available.
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
just like, I want to see what this guy does.
That is true of you.
What was A again?
A is technical fighter with speed and tricky moves. I'm going B for easy combos.
I mean, come on. I made Hakan in Street Fighter 4.
Come on, dude.
I'm probably going B too.
All right, number 6. You need to pick up a restaurant. You need to pick a restaurant. Sorry, not pick up. Pick a restaurant. Do you choose Brazilian Steakhouse, In-N-Out Burger, a lobster buffet on the Vegas Strip, or Golden Corral on Free Sloppy Joe Day?
B.
In-N-Out Burger?
Brazilian Steakhouse.
Yeah, Brazilian Steakhouse, dude.
Man,
Yeah.
I can't do Brazilian Steakhouse anymore. Like, that's going to tear me up.
Well, it's too bad. Okay.
Definitely not Golden Corral. That's horrible.
So we're gonna count
It's
out
like some soft
never
old man food.
never Golden Corral, and I don't want to be in Vegas anymore. So that's what those two are out. Okay, here's the scoring. So D answers are worth 1 point, C answers are worth 2 points, B answers are worth 3 points, and A answers are worth 4 points. So you gotta like tally up what you have with the point value.
Okay, wait, so it's A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4?
Yes.
Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we're gonna get a total, and the total will tell us what our scores mean. So I got 4 plus 2 is 6, plus 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10, plus 3 is 13, so I got 17.
I got
11.
also.
John and I both got 17?
I got 11.
You got 11? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of low number letters there. Okay. So, John and I got 17. So here's what our score is. We got, I forgot what the quiz was for. The quiz is which 90s non-Nintendo console are you? And so these are all Sega consoles from the 90s. We got the Sega Genesis, John. You are gifted and amazing at all things, but your rival always gets one up on you. The people who are closest to you will always say your rival has nothing on you. Your friends would rather have your rival play Dungeons and Dragons at your party than you, and you love caffeine and small woodland animals. It's not true. It's not untrue. Sam over here got 11. You are the Sega CD, Sam. You grew up with lots of money, and because of that, you're super amazing at one or two things. You also are pretty darn attractive. You are secretly bitter because your rival is cuter than you, and there's nothing you can do to change that. Other than that, you're a little boring.
True enough.
I mean, yeah, that's Sam to a T.
All
pretty much.
those.
I'll read the other ones just for funsies. If you got a 9 or below, you're the 32X. You're the shadow of your former self. You like to take a new direction in your life, but everyone misses the old you. People can't see your greatness, and sometimes you can't see it either. You're at least thankful that you're not the Nomad or the Pico. If you got a 20 to 23, you're the Dreamcast. Oh, I should have got Dreamcast, man. You are special and beautiful, and no one can say bad things about you. But you quit things for the dumbest reasons, like running out of money. Everyone wants you to put yourself out there and run for president, but you keep telling yourself negative things. Ugh. Self-talk will get you, man. And if you got a perfect 24, you are the Sega Saturn. You are the epitome of cool and class. You get into all the fancy bar lounges. You like to jump out of planes as a side hobby and take the edge off work. You only drink European seltzer water. People in Japan love you, and you don't know why. Ambassador coming in clutch with the game. That was great. I want to know what you guys got at home. Did you take the quiz? Did you get a score? Were you the Sega Saturn? Yeah, so I think we're just going to do trivia card, and then we'll jump into our show topic this week.
Yep, we got our trivia card.
Trivia card. If you guys don't get these, I don't know. Dan, this one is yours.
All right, let's go.
What is the name of Donkey Kong's sidekick and best friend?
Diddy Kong.
That is correct.
Come on, guys.
What color is Spyro the Dragon in the Spyro game series?
Purple?
Purple.
Purple it is.
Why were they so dumb?
Do you remember what Diddy Kong's name was going to be before it was changed?
I actually read something recently about how Donkey Kong got his name that I didn't know. And I'm going to share it with you right now. The original story was that it was a mistranslation of Monkey Kong and it stuck. It's not true. When they were designing the character, they were trying to come up with a word that meant like clumsy or hard-headed or stupid or like unintelligent. And so donkey was what they landed with. And because they were Japanese, you know, they were just kind of picking an English word for the definition, didn't really look into what it really meant. And now we have Donkey Kong. Stubborn old Donkey Kong. I don't know what Diddy Kong's original name was.
It was Dinky Kong.
Oh, I knew
right.
that.
I was like, yeah, it still started with a D. It was something that sounded really silly.
Yep.
Dinky
They changed
Kong.
it though.
Yeah, good for them.
Can you imagine if we would have got Dinky
Close.
Kong like
Dinky Kong Racing.
Dinky
Yeah.
Kong Racing.
Oh man.
Wonderful.
Donkey Kong Country 2, Dinky's Conquest.
Dinky's Conquest. I can't, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, that's enough trivia. We'll go on to our show topic after a short break, I guess. That's what we usually do. Yeah. So as I kind of hinted at before, I've been thinking a bit about difficulty just with some of the games I've been playing. Like I mentioned, I've been playing Battle Network 2 in hard mode. But on the other end of things, some of the recent games I've played, I kind of sometimes feel are too easy. So just thinking about difficulty in general, it kind of from a bunch of different aspects, but I think in particular difficulty settings in games. Because I just wrapped up last week, before getting Pokemon, I just wrapped up Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope. And I played on the highest difficulty, and I didn't think it was that hard. So sometimes it's like, I kind of wish there was a little bit more challenge here. But challenge is not always great, especially when it comes to how it's implemented. Some games are hard, and they're just hard, and they're not fun. But on the other hand, I think challenge is something that's pretty essential for a lot of games to making them actually interesting. It doesn't mean the same exact like settings are gonna be the right amount of challenge for everybody. But I do think like if you reduce it to the absolute like limit, where like the game is just ridiculously easy, like you take damage but you never run out of health, sort of thing. Like it's why even play the game? And I know like these days there's games that launch with like a story, they'll call it a story difficulty, and it's explicitly billed as, if you're just here for the story, put it on this so you don't have to worry about the gameplay, basically. And I'm not gonna fault people for doing that, because I think when it's clear that's the intention of it, it's like, hey, you don't want to mess with the actual mechanics, you're just here for the story, then okay, like that gets the job done. But I think for someone like me, I don't play games for the story. If the game is too easy, it almost becomes that, right? So it's always, there's a balance. But then there's different types of difficulty. There's there's some games that I feel like don't need it, right? But there's some games that I think do. So
yeah, what comes to mind for me, just overall talking about difficulty, is the way that I play games in this season of my life is that I kind of need a pretty straight path through this game. Unless it's something like Breath of the Wild, where exploration is the fun and you just go off, you know, but that's a pretty rare thing, especially on the Switch, which is my main console right now. And if something gets to be too hard, and maybe there's like a steep learning curve, or there's a steep difficulty curve at some point, I might just put the game down and never pick it back up. That usually tends to be the thing. Or if I get lost, like things like that tend to end me playing through a game these days. So games that don't do that are like perfect for that kind of progression, or usually your Mario games, your Kirby games. Pokemon to an extent, but even some of those games have some dumb puzzles or just some like fetch quests that are you just don't know what to do, and they get lost on the map sometimes. Games, and Nintendo's really good at that, sort of like having your baseline game be pretty easy, not like stupid, but like fairly clear to get through. And then if you want your higher difficulty, go collect all the things, unless
Kirby's a really good example of that.
Yes. Even Forgotten Lands, which is a pretty straight shot through the game. We're at the like post game now, and that's really hard. So I appreciate that though. I'm like, cool, I beat the game. I can put it down if I want to, but I really like this game and I want to try to get through it. So they really did a good job with that. And then there's games like Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, where you're not gonna have an easy time with this. Like the game is the difficulty mode, like it, so they even kind of eased it up a little bit for the Switch version, just so that it was more accessible to people, I guess.
Well, and that's an interesting thing you said too, about like you get to the post game and it's kind of acceptable to ramp up the challenge a lot. Yeah, because I think when you look at those difficulty settings, at least I've always taken the understanding that default or normal, whatever the game defaults to without you adjusting anything, is kind of the way they intend you to play the game the first time. Easy if you find that too frustrating. Yeah. And hard sometimes is something that doesn't even unlock until you beat the game once, right? So it's hey, I want to go back to this. I want to crack this game open and see how far I can take, the mechanics, how far I can master these different things that I didn't have to the first time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I just like choices. I don't play a whole lot of games on the easiest difficulty. There are some things I play like on story mode, just if it's a game that I'm not feeling the mechanics on, but I want the story, yeah, I'll switch it to story mode. I'm not going to, beat my head on a wall to finish a game whenever they give you that option. The one that comes to my mind the most is like, with how flexible it is Celeste. Like, you can basically make that game as hard or as easy as you want.
Like, that gets pretty hard, though.
I think you can make it as easy as you want. You can definitely make it as hard as you want.
Yeah, like the baseline for that game is still pretty difficult, I think.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, you can give yourself more jumps. Like, you can, like, there's lots of things you can do.
But they do give you a lot of those scalable things. Mm-hmm. But yeah, even with more jumps, like, that's still, especially if you don't play a lot of platformers or platformers of that type. But yeah, I mean the thing that came to mind too, and because you said like you want to have choices, and I think that's why I'm thinking like I'm really harsh on this when it comes to strategy games, because I think you have to toe a very careful line with a strategy game on difficulty, because if the game is too easy, you're not strategizing. Like, if you can literally charge all your troops in a straight line and always outnumber the enemy in every case and win, that's not fun. That's not interesting, right?
Yeah, for sure.
There's no, but also if it's too hard, because in a strategy game, you want there to be multiple viable strategies is the thing. And when the game starts to get too hard, there aren't. There's basically only one. There is one way to win, and you have to figure out what it is.
So good.
When the game is too easy, then every strategy works, and you might as well pick the simplest one because it just doesn't matter, right? So you have to kind of toe that. And I think, kind of going to my next point on the notes, why strategy RPGs tend to do a lot better is because they have this element of leveling up, of experience grinding that you can kind of use to adjust things to your own level. Because I think this is one of the reasons RPGs are so popular, actually, is because they're never really that hard, but you always have the ability to challenge yourself. Because every time you go to a new area, you fight higher level monsters. it's going to be difficult, but you can always go back to the old area and stomp some
And
easy
level up.
monsters and level up.
Yeah.
And if you want the game to be challenging, other than at the very beginning and the very end, if you're at the level cap or you're level 1, you can't really do much. But if you want the game to be challenging, you don't grind. And if you don't want the game to be challenging, you do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's still the time investment, which can sort of feel... You can feel some frustration at like, oh, I have to grind now. That's lame. But I don't know. That's just something that I've thought about that,
Well, and
it really makes...
with the thought, thinking about strategy RPGs, most strategy RPGs don't really have like a grinding mechanic per se, at least not that I've experienced. Now, I don't play a lot.
They often don't.
I don't play a lot of Fire Emblem, but I have played a lot of Final Fantasy Tactics.
Fire Emblem didn't used to, and it now does. It's one of the differences with modern Fire Emblem.
And Triangle Strategy and Front Mission I've played. And none of those games have really like a way to grind per se. The way you grind in Triangle Strategy, and I want to talk about Triangle Strategy because I think it's a beautiful example of this, is either you can do like a practice mission, you can do one of those, or you do the mission you're trying to beat and you just keep losing because you maintain all your experience every time you die.
Yeah, that's a way of grinding, I guess.
And it is, and it's smart though, because in Triangle Strategy, your battles are kind of like puzzles. Like there is one like ideal solution, and then there's kind of like the grindy end where it's like you can just brute force your way through this, but you're gonna die a lot. And then somewhere in between those two things is your happy place, is where you're gonna land.
Well, and the interesting thing, and effectively, even a lot of the oldest RPGs did this. They do more or less gate you, and it's because experience to level up goes on an exponential curve.
Yes.
So you can grind 1 or 2 levels above what you're supposed to be in an area, but you're basically never going to get 10 levels higher, right?
No,
because the diminishing returns on the grind is going to hit you
big time.
And it's even more explicit in a game like Paper Mario, where once you're too many levels, the enemies just don't give you star points anymore.
Yeah.
And Triangle Strategy does it too. Triangle Strategy has, for your first playthrough, basically a max level. Until you clear this chapter, you can't level up anymore.
Yeah.
You can level up your other characters. You can switch in other characters and level them up too.
Because they want you to
level up beyond that.
Because they want you to solve the puzzle. They don't want you to brute force.
And then when you do a new game plus, all the enemies will scale to your level.
Yeah.
But you're expected to know how to deal with that because you've beaten the game once already.
Yeah, for sure. I just wanted to point out how smart Triangle Strategy was in that way. I really appreciated
Triangle Strategy is great. Yeah. I think it's the best game that came out this year.
It's fantastic.
A lot of people seem to have forgotten about it by now. So
if Forgotten Worlds hadn't come out this year, it might be my GOAT. Yes. So difficulty. So there's a conversation online a lot of times, usually around whatever Dark Souls iteration or copycat is out at the time, about how games should have an easy mode or a story mode. Even if difficulty is the point, this game should have an easy mode. And so there's arguments on both sides as to whether or not that should happen or is fair or not. But I want to know what you guys think about that conversation and where you land. If you've played a Dark Souls-ish game.
Yeah.
I've played Dark Souls 3. But, I mean, see, the thing is, and part of this is, obviously there are people who play games for the story. I don't know who's playing Dark Souls for the story.
No.
I just don't. There's not a lot of story in the game. It's all buried in the menu.
Is a YouTube video.
So I mean, yeah, I don't see the appeal personally. I don't want to take that away from I don't have anything to prove to oh yeah. But I do think there is a point to where if you're trying to explain to somebody else what you like about this game, what you like about Dark Souls, I think there is something to be said for like, okay, I like this game because it forces you to learn to do this, that, and the other thing, you know, because it has this challenge, and that is a driving force in the game to make you get better. Now we see a game like Celeste manages to do that while also offering some scalable options so that people don't just have to hit their head against the wall in the frustration. So I mean, I want to find a middle ground. But the other thing that comes to it too is, what exactly do you want when you want an easy mode? You know, do you want a cheat code that just makes you invincible? Because that's easy to implement, but that's probably not what people want.
No,
like they want something that's a little bit better thought out. And this is something I've brought up with like the hard mode on Battle Network 2, which they only did for this game. Really, it sort of shows up again in Battle Network 4, but it's even worse in the implementation there. But it's literally like the laziest thing you can do, which is, well, almost. So the main thing they do is every enemy has 50% more HP and deals 50% more damage.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit.
Which is, you know, it's like, okay, that's pretty lazy, and you didn't scale anything else. Now there are scripted encounters in the game, so they're not bosses, but they are basically fixed battles that you have at different points that aren't random encounters like the normal ones. And those have actually been completely adjusted. So they're different enemies. They still have the increased health and damage. And they even mess with the terrain on you that those battles take place on. And those are actually way harder than anything I've fought. Random encounters, bosses, anything so far. Probably because they kind of gave you a double dose of difficulty and at a very early point in the game where you don't have a whole lot of options, because this is not a new game plus situation. This is, you're still using your basic weapons at this point. And it was definitely a lot harder, but I do commend them for doing that much at least. And I will say that for Battle Network in particular, where beating enemies fast to get a high ranking, to get better drops, is an important mechanic, scaling up the HP does force you into having to think differently about how to accomplish that. Because to get a max busting level, usually you have to not just take enemies out fast, but you usually have to take out multiple enemies with a single attack. So whereas on normal difficulty, you might be able to use one weapon that will take out two enemies in one hit. Now when they have more health, you can't do that. So you have to like hit each of them once with a different weapon and then line them up for that. So it actually has been more interesting than I thought it would be.
Interesting. Yeah, it seems like they thought more about it than just like they actually play tested it and said like, oh, this works, you know. I think it may just be a happy accident in the end. Maybe, yeah.
But yeah.
I think what I want from an easy mode, and I don't even know that easy mode is like the way to put this, but if I get really stuck in a game because I got lost somewhere, like that's just a bad time. Like I just want to move forward. That will make me quit a game faster than anything else. It's just like, where do I go? What do I do? And there's no like direction. Or you do something like Breath of the Wild where like, oh, I love being lost because there's always fun stuff around.
Or Metroid.
Yeah,
or that's
right?
the intent.
Yeah, in Metroid, it's like, no, you got to go experiment. And like, you get that because it's Metroid. I just want clear direction. And if I come across like a boss battle that I'm like really stuck on, maybe let me try it on an easier mode, or maybe like let me have that boss battle as like one level easier, and then go back up to normal when I'm done with it. You know, like I don't know that I necessarily want to experience the whole game as like a breeze. Like I want to be able to be challenged, but I don't want to get stuck. That's not fun.
Right. Nobody likes getting stuck.
That's
Now,
kind of my
depending
like
who you are. When I get that little prompt that's like, would you like to try this on easy mode? I'm like, no, how dare you insult me? I don't need an easy mode.
You turn down the golden mushroom thing and in the 3D
Mm-hmm.
3D
Yeah.
land or whatever.
Oh man, yeah, don't.
How dare you?
That's funny.
Or it's a golden leaf, isn't it, or feather, whatever it is.
Ridiculous. And
Yeah, I mean, I think most games. I can't think of any games that I've just specifically wanted an easy mode for. I can't think of anything that comes to mind that's like, man, I really wish this had an easy mode. That I think would make it to where I want to play the game further. Usually, if I hit a rock or something in the middle of a game, I'm usually not enjoying it anyway because I'm not even wanting to take the time to look for whatever is causing me to be stuck.
right.
I think for the most part, game developers do a pretty good job of giving you options nowadays. There's very few times where the option that I want isn't there. You know, I mean, there's probably some older games that do struggle with this. I'm looking at you like anything pre like N64 era.
For sure.
It's like,
yeah.
I mean, you're just not going to get those options. That wasn't a thing. Like they wanted you to play these games over and over, and that's what the intent was.
And it kind of stems out of the lingering intent of the arcade, which was the harder the game is to finish, the more quarters this machine will get.
Well, and you also had, a lot longer development cycles. There wasn't near as many, developers and publishers. We talk about all the time, being a kid in the 90s and waiting for your next game to come out that you were going to play that year. You don't have that problem anymore. So you really can't afford to be a developer that doesn't give players options because they'll just move on to another game and won't play yours. And if you do that once, and then you won't go back.
Mm-hmm.
You did have cheat codes, which were kind of like the easy mode.
Depending on some games.
On which games and what codes were available. For a lot of them, though, you'd need a Game Genie or something to actually make the game easy.
Mm.
Yeah.
Man, Game Genie was the best.
I think we are in a very good time period for the understanding of game difficulty and what it means. Like, kind of like to what you said, I don't want an invincibility mode. Like that doesn't really solve, the game's problem as far as making it fun.
Yeah.
And be able to progress.
Right. And like that's where like we need a way to, because I'm looking at it from the perspective of like, if the game's too hard for somebody, like I get that, but I also want to like try to get, because I think to get the most out of any game, it needs to be a little bit challenging to you personally. Yeah. And that's going to be a different sweet spot for everybody.
Yeah, and
now,
that's
a lot
the hard
of games
thing. That's the hard thing.
It's difficult to scale it to that, right? And maybe in the end, if you're not looking for a challenge, you're fine with that. But I'm like, no, this is something I like about playing games that I want to show and share with other people. Like, don't be a jerk about it. Don't be like, oh, you play on easy mode. Like, you don't want to be that guy.
I mean, again, it all comes down to what kind of game I'm playing. If like you said, if I'm playing a tactics or a strategy game, I want it to be challenging enough. Probably not to where I have to play the same level 5 times, but challenging enough to keep my interest while I'm playing, because that's what you're playing that game for. 9 times out of 10, they don't have like this knockout story that is going to keep you engaged for the whole thing.
I mean,
they
can, but the gameplay is still a huge. You look at triangle strategy, like you could. Yeah. I'm sure there's people that would get some enjoyment out of playing that game, with, straight up skipping the battles, or at least just making the battles very easy. So they could just see the story play out, make the story decisions. It's basically a visual novel at that point. Because it's got a branching story with decisions you make and stuff.
Isn't there an auto play in the battles? Is there not in?
I think there is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen. It didn't seem very effective, but I played on high difficulty, so
yeah.
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 And I don't think it lets you straight up skip either.
No,
so you
and
have to,
I don't think
watch it.
And I don't think that it was a very good. I don't think that it worked particularly well.
I mean, if
either.
I'm playing a game and my sole intent is to just, soak in the story and the gameplay is not like, if the gameplay is mainly just like and like an action RPG and like all of the enemies are just sponges and like you're just trying to get through things, yeah, I'll play story mode because I don't gain anything by, working on an enemy for 20 minutes just because I have 5,000 HP and I only do 5 damage at a time. Like, to me, there's no skill in that. It's, I don't mind moving the difficulty down for that just so I can get the story. But I mean, like, obviously, if it's like, you can't change the difficulty of a fighting game, there's limits to it.
Well, and to say nothing of like who's asking for an Animal Crossing hard mode. I mean, like what would that be? Like Tom Nook charges interest on your loans now?
Man.
Like
Better pay it off quick.
Now it takes longer to pay everything off.
That would be hilarious.
Love it.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that smart difficulty options either selected or innate to what you're playing is the best option. And unfortunately, it's the hardest to pull off. So I'll give an example too, where, Breath of the Wild, where you can play master mode. They do a lot of interesting things with the difficulty. They add a lot of enemies. They make the enemies harder to kill. They make them recharge. And it really totally changed how I played that game. I went from like going in guns blazing to being like, okay, I got to be really smart here because I don't have enough resources to actually take these guys out. It made me think a lot more. So it can be done smartly and well, and it just takes some nuance, really.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is that even giving the options, it's kind of difficult for a player to know what to set everything at. Ideally, I mean,
being able to change your options after you start playing too can really make a difference.
Well, and not to mention, as you play a game, you usually get better at it. So that's going to change because that's a killer, and a lot of games will have that, because it comes from that mentality that like hard mode is some achievement, some badge you're working towards, and if you drop the difficulty down, you can't ever go back to hard because you didn't play the whole thing on hard, right? But
I don't. Yeah, if I'm playing on normal and
there's a lot of games that have that baked in.
Yeah, but if I'm playing,
you can change the difficulty down but not up.
I don't like that. If I'm playing on normal and I want to get through a boss on easy and I want to go back to normal after that, I think I should be able to do that. Like, I didn't earn it maybe, but like it. Whatever.
Just keep playing on easy, Dan. It's all right.
I'm fine with. I have no qualms with it at all. I start on normal, and if it's too hard, I go down to easy. It's just how I play games.
You're playing it how the developer intended. Like
there it goes.
That's kind of where it's at. Like it's really hard. It's even hard to really try to figure out what you want, as we've been saying. The developer knows best. There's a reason why they've put in place what they have, because if you try to change how the game works so much, then you run into issues where you're breaking the game. I mean, it's really hard to pinpoint. Like, as we said, there's plenty of games out there that I don't even know how, like, especially with the as I mentioned earlier, with the older stuff like pre N64, I honestly, I don't know how you could even like fix some of those games, like to make them easier without just like saying, here, you win, don't play the level, just go straight to the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you have to start redesigning levels, which is a lot of work.
Exactly.
Now I think some of the Mega Man collections, I never messed with this, but to my knowledge, some of the Mega Man collections did feature some kind of, I know in the X collection, it's called like Maverick Hunter mode or something, but it is effectively a like, I mean, it's kind of a Band-Aid over, because Mega Man games are pretty hard, But what they'll do is in a lot of places, they will just insert like ground over spikes, for example. Like you don't have to jump this spike pit. You can just walk over it. Like this one's too hard. We'll just cover that up, and the rest of the level's the same. Or they might remove enemies.
What I will say that has totally changed my experience with a lot of retro games is rewind.
That's what I was about to say.
That's
something we haven't mentioned.
That's a nice, easy mode for retro games. It's easily implemented and makes it so that I still feel like I'm playing the game and getting past the thing, but I don't have to take the punishment that you give me for dying every time. That's a nice middle ground, I think.
Well, and it really puts them closer to modern games, because you play any modern game today, they're not going to have a, you lost 3 lives, go back to World 1-1
exactly
sort of situation.
Yeah.
Like usually there's auto saves, and before really anything significant, the game's going to auto save. Like you're never going to have to go through a lot of the game again after you fail.
I will say I would have never gotten anywhere in Castlevania in the first Castlevania if I didn't have the save states. I would have given up on the first level. I would have been like, this game is awful. Why am I doing this? But whatever. Here we are. I beat Dracula in Castlevania.
Yeah, and the other thing it does still leave the entire game intact. You can use it as a tool to practice and then play through the game, the honest way, without using rewind or whatever.
Yeah, for
if
sure.
you want to. Or not.
Or not.
But yeah, I think that kind of takes care of this topic. I'm sure it'll keep to come up. It'll come up every time there's a new Elden Ring, Dark Souls, whatever, any game that's remotely difficult. But people will keep arguing about it because that's what people like to do. Just be kind to others, please.
It's fine to disagree and argue and have a discussion. Just be kind about it. That's it. That's our whole thing.
Lastly, we have some questions from our community couch. Quite a few this week on the podcast. I'll just go right into it. First up, we have a question from our friend Chris HL94. He says, is the only way to play the NES Power Pad games on original hardware? I don't know if you guys know anymore. I had to look up the NES Power Pad. I had no experience with it.
Here's my long and short answer for Chris is that there are ways to plug your NES controller via USB into your computer so that you can use an original NES controller with emulators. If you want to use the Power Pad, that's going to take some custom stuff. Like I don't know how to do that, but I'm 100% sure that somebody out there has already figured it out. You just got to find the right person or YouTube video or Reddit post.
Yeah, because the Power Pad takes both controller ports, right?
Yeah. So 2-player.
Now,
oh no.
The interesting thing I found looking it up is that Bandai made a sort of, it's not exactly the same, but they made a Power Pad for the Wii. And it does, interestingly enough, plug into the GameCube ports on the Wii console.
Oh.
So I don't know if anybody, because like it's not the official one, but one benefit of it not being the official Nintendo GameCube adapter for Wii U and for Switch, they're essentially the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is I have one that works for PC as well. So I don't know if anybody's created a way for that to work through that means either.
You can
It
also
would
buy-
likely require some kind of custom software, I assume. Some
Maybe
kind
not
of special
custom
drivers
software.
or something.
Maybe not, but at least remapping everything for sure,
yeah.
which can be a pain.
8BitDo also makes a wireless adapter that supports a GameCube controller as well. It's like a little purple Bluetooth enabled device.
I mean, what I have found is that there's usually a way to do this. It's just not always neat and clean.
Yeah.
And the further you stray from that too, you're likely to run into some serious input latency as well. If it's got to go through 2 or 3 adapters and a emulator, you might have some issues. It can probably be done, but it might not be perfect.
So the answer is maybe. Depending
None of us have confirmed.
depending on how much work you want to put in, I'm sure it can be done on a PC.
Yeah.
I have a couple power pads.
You just gotta write a program yourself
Yeah,
to do it. It's fine.
It's good.
No reason it shouldn't work.
Now a dance
You gotta
pad,
create your own NES.
a dance pad
That's
doesn't
not
have
original
enough
hardware.
A dance pad doesn't have enough buttons, right? A power pad has like
No.
4x4 buttons. I think it's 4x4.
I think it has 16.
Yeah, 16, which is 4x4. That's what I said.
The one I'm looking at is
Yeah.
4x3, 12.
4x3. Okay.
No. Okay.
So that's still too many for a single dance pad. So it's not, dance pad wouldn't replace that. Oh well.
Yeah. So next question is from Mike Wrights, aka the Ambassador. He changes his name a lot. He asks, which one of these PlayStation IPs deserves to replace The Last of Us Remastered? And the choices are Siphon Filter, Resistance, Wipeout, Twisted Metal, and Sly Cooper.
I already mentioned in Discord, but they should bring Sly Cooper back.
Yeah, I'm Team Sly Cooper.
I
I only played the first game, but I did really like it. The later games diversified quite a bit from what I know. Like, they introduced a lot of new gameplay elements, I think. But at its core, I thought it was really cool to have kind of this kind of platformer that uses some stealth elements. I thought it was cool.
I would
I think there's still room for that.
Yeah, I would definitely be down for more Sly Cooper, but my write-in answer was Ape Escape, which I don't know why he forgot Ape Escape.
Of course.
That's
I mean,
come on.
I don't think we're going to get Sly Cooper because they're too busy with Ghost of Tsushima now.
Yeah, Sucker Punch has bigger fish to fry. So I don't know. And didn't they make? There was a newer Sly Cooper game made by somebody else, or was it a trilogy or something?
No, there was.
I think the last one was from someone else, right?
It was from somebody else. It was the 4th game. I believe they did 3. Sucker Punch did 3 of the 4.
Okay, Thieves in Time, which is a PS3 game and was developed by
Sanzaru Games.
Sanzaru, who made nothing.
No, man. Their first game was actually Ninja Reflex on the Wii. So
Yeah. They made Secret Agent Clank.
Secret Agent Clank.
I guess
okay.
They did the Sly collection prior to Thieves in Time.
They like copycat games, I guess, is what they do.
They did the Spyro trilogy recently.
Oh, they're American. Okay, cool. Yeah, so they made one, and I don't know if it was received well or not, but that's a thing. But we all really just want Ape Escape, so yeah.
Yeah, Ape Escape's good.
Yep.
Honestly, the rest of these I'm not that attached to, so
No, I liked Resistance on the PS3 very much.
Yeah,
but
that would probably be my next one. That and Wipeout.
I don't know that we need more shooters in our lives.
No.
So
that might be why we don't have it anymore.
Flightsy has the crucial question: are Cheez-Its and Cheetos chips?
No, they're puffs.
No, Cheez-It is a cracker, and Cheetos are fried corn puffs.
Yeah, there's a puff. Puff and cracker are not chips.
So I think I'm going to disagree slightly. I think that Cheetos do count as chips and Cheez-Its do not. My reasoning being ingredients. I looked up. Cheez-Its primary ingredient is wheat flour. So that's a bread. That's a cracker. Cheetos, it's primarily cornmeal. So when you fry corn, you have corn chips.
Yeah, but
No. When it's fried, though, we have corn chips. We have, you can have Fritos. Those are corn chips. Tortilla chips can be corn chips. Chips can apply in that case. But Cheez-Its are crackers. There's no getting around that.
No, yeah. And I don't know that I'm never going to say, get me some chips and you bring me Cheetos. Like that doesn't.
Yeah. To me,
translate.
Another prerequisite for chip is that it's flat. Or, usually flat.
Yeah. And like crunchy, crispy, which.
Well, you can get crunchy Cheetos.
I don't think it has to be flat, though. I mean, is it just the shape? Because, like, even flatness, like, Pringles aren't even flat. They're curved.
Well, no, I'm talking about, like, just overall flat. Like,
what about Ruffles?
Skinny? Is that better? Like, they're thin. Or Cheetos not thin. I think of a
Is that what it comes down to?
In a world, yes. In a world, no. In a world where puffs exist, a Cheeto is a puff. It's a category.
But
of snack.
nobody talks about puffs though. Puffs are those things that babies eat. Okay,
Another
the things
thing
that babies
chips,
eat. That's
chips
puffs.
are like a transport device for dips. And no one's dipping a Cheeto in dip.
That's a good point.
Have you tried it though?
It's horrible. It's got to be bad.
I think I would do it.
Sam,
Come on,
no.
I'm gonna do it tomorrow. I'm gonna make some buffalo chicken dip and dip Cheetos in it, and it's gonna be the best thing ever.
You know what? That does sound good, actually. I'll have some.
I just need to bring the Cheeto burrito back at Taco Bell. That thing was amazing.
Cheeto burrito.
That was
a churrito.
So Presto, for our last question of the night, asks, "What is the worst game you have ever played?"
Oh,
in recent memory, it would have to be. What am I thinking of? Bionic Commando on the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360.
That's pretty bad.
That game's hot garbage.
Yeah.
I want to say Mega Man X7, but honestly, that's not the worst. I just hate it the most because it's a Mega Man game and it's so bad. I've played Balls on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, that one's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad.
What's the
I'm just trying to think like recent memory. That I played. There's some the worst.
There's some standouts in my mind, and this might not be an exhaustive list of all the worst games I've ever played, but these are the ones that come to mind. Pit Fighter is just trash. I can't play that game. I can't believe.
And I think that stupid fighting game on the Super Nintendo NSO app. It's really bad.
Like Fighter's History or Tough Enough?
Neither one. It's another one.
Tough Enough. What a stupid name. TUFF.
I've brought this up several times now, but
go look it up.
It's one that I played whenever the Nintendo Dads. It was one of the
pull your Switch out
Mayhem deals.
Pull your Switch out and look it up. One that's pretty recent that I played at Switch launch that people love for some reason that I absolutely hate is Snake Pass. Snake Pass.
Love that game.
Is bad. It's a bad game. The controls are bad. It's misleading. Why is there a bird? I don't like it at all. Not a fan. Why is it called Snake Pass? What does the word pass mean in that scenario? Like, why isn't it called like Snakey and Jakey or whatever the bird's name is? Like, there's nothing about that game is appealing to me. And I'm mad that I spent the money on it. I want my money back for it.
I'm pretty sure the one that I was thinking of was Doomsday Warrior.
Doomsday Warrior.
I think. Unless there's another really bad one in there.
There's some games to avoid. Earthworm Jim 3D is really bad.
I've played Superman 64, but
yeah,
honestly, I think my answer remains Balls. That's worse.
Can't get a lot
Superman
worse
64 is actually, like, I actually had legitimate fun with that game, even if I never got very far in it. I had some fun with it. I cannot say that much about Balls.
Yeah.
Seth will fight you over Superman 64.
What a weird thing.
That's what I'm saying.
Dude.
It's not the worst.
I can't believe he likes that game. I need to have a conversation with him about that. I can't. So yeah. we are skipping Danverse again this week. If I'm reading it right, Flightsy plays a pretty big part in this next one. And so I think we're going to get him on as a guest to have him be on the episode when we actually read that script, because nobody can do Flightsy like Flightsy. So yeah. So look forward to future Danverse stuff coming soon.
All right, leaving everybody hanging on the Danverse. Well, that is a wrap for episode 92 of the RetroLogic podcast. Thank you for listening. We are proudly a part of the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. If you like what you hear, you can check us out on Twitter and Instagram at RetroLogic Games. You are welcome to jump into our friendly and 100% non-toxic Discord community, and the link to that is in the Twitter bio, and you can, of course, find everything on the website retrologic.games. Good night.
Good night, guys. Thanks for listening.
Bye now.